There's a heavily photoshopped image of me, so real, not real. And I'm almost excited to ride this crazy slide train that we're on right now. You can see how the marketing team always has a little bit of a role in creating those slide decks for sales. I'm going to guess my font is Arial. There we go. All right. Excellent. I'm going to have the most, look at this beautiful stock photography, these two very genuine individuals having an amazing time doing something, both looking pretty smart. I'm going to talk about finding sales alignment success and aligning with sales in a proper way that really allows you to genuinely create value for folks. And I think my presentation is probably the least sophisticated, which hopefully will serve me well. Click. There we go. A little bit about me. I joined SalesLoft in September 2016, about 3.5 years ago. I was employee 90. Now we're about employee 460-ish. And so I walked into a young and vibrant marketing team focused on traditional bread and butter marketing. I walked in, there's hip hop on the radio, they're scootering around, vining, boomeranging, Instagramming, all that good stuff. Really a great team. Leads weren't a problem. We are blessed with great product market fit. Our product leaders and our founders have created something really special that has really taken hold and really helped to create a category. We had a lot of high inbound lead flow, so hey, I'll just check in, say hello, and go home. No, it was pretty easy walking into it. That's what I thought at first. But eventually, what I realized was my job was not to come in here and just generate a few more leads. It was to help us move up market. How are we going to take a business that is primarily for emerging small companies and make it more attractive to mid-market companies in the enterprise? And going into the enterprise means going into account-based. And for those that aren't familiar with account-based marketing, it's basically the concept of you're not marketing to get a lead, you're marketing to engage with an account and all the different leads that are within that account. Pretty simple concept. One of the ways that I've survived at SalesLoft is because we have incredible core values. We don't have 100, that's impressive. 193 slides was that? Wow. We have one page on our website, but either way, they're very powerful and they've helped us to scale all along. Aligning closely with sales basically helps marketers waste less money. That's something that's really important to me. And the reality is that marketers are always going to waste money. You ever heard of a test? Testing an A/B test? Half of that A/B test doesn't work, and 60% of the other B part of the test may not work as well, but that learning is going to take you a lot further in the process. So it's not about, and there used to be my little Twitter handle, Eric J. Martin, all in one word next to that little Twitter bird, if you're curious why that's there. It's about building an account-based revenue org, not just ABM. So I don't say ABM a lot. I just say account-based. It's about building a cooperative environment where sales and marketing work together to engage with the critical personas of their accounts in order to generate opportunities. Brief history here. It was a it's good times. Multi-year labor of love and consistent realignment. Sounds fun, right? Started in September 2016. What I did when I came to the company was do something that nobody really had thought of doing, was actually do an analysis of how big is our market. The CEO came to me and said, well, Eric, how are we going to go from being where we are right now to being a billion-dollar valuation company, which every startup basically lusts after. Completed that analysis, and what that does is that teaches you the accounts to go after. So then you select your accounts. You select the accounts with sales, which is probably the most contentious part of the process. Sales has been extremely successful at SalesLoft. They've been crushing it, closing a lot of deals, and I walk in and I'm like the guy with the spreadsheets and like, hey, I think you need to go over there, and they're like, get out of here. That's initially how it was anyway. And that is obviously one of the most challenging parts. But either way, launched our commercial team. When our enterprise team launched them and deployed those accounts to them with cooperation for them, we launched our first buyer's journey campaign, which is a really An example, I think I have a couple slides that'll show you that, just a couple of examples of marketing actually one-to-one helping sales directly with deals, much like the earlier presentation from Lucy. Once you get big, you have to go beyond just that initial small list of accounts. So initially we had like 2,000 accounts, now we have more like 30,000. So, as you grow and you scale, you need to meet the needs of your business. And now we're working on things like customer expansion and honestly going back and optimizing that good old-fashioned inbound funnel, leads, converting into opportunities, optimizing your conversion rates, all that good stuff. How do we find success? There's the traditional way of doing account-based marketing, as you may have seen it out in the market today, is you select your accounts, you run a campaign, you measure the ROI, and then you iterate slowly. So that's the absolute traditional approach. But at SalesLoft, nothing really starts truly with marketing. One of my favorite sayings that our CEO has said is that the only reason someone comes inbound is because outbound didn't get to them first. And that's been the mentality of SalesLoft. We're absolutely tenacious with going after the market and delivering value and an excellent customer experience from the very beginning of you seeing our logo or seeing a message. So what did we do? We sized the market with that total addressable analysis. We aligned on the accounts and tiering. That's the hard part. It's a lot easier than just that number 2 dot there. And then, this is the different approach, is we actually focused on activating SDRs. So concentrating on how marketing as a function can fuel the SDR outbound engine to generate more opportunities. And then fueling that with orchestration, creating campaigns, and using tactics that follow everyone through the funnel, not just converting to the opportunity, saying, we're done, and then moving on. Again, aerial strikes again. This is an example, basic kind of software as a service tiering structure for account-based marketing. And follow me at the bottom, starting down with that tier 3. This is that tier 3, that 70% of your account list is going to be those basic characteristics of your ICP that you pretty much can bet are really helpful and useful. They're going to be aligned with those findings from the total addressable market analysis. This is the size of the company in the specific geography that you're working in the specific industry that you want to work with. So that's 70% of your list. You go up into that second tier, and that's that tier 3 qualified characteristics. Plus, for us, it's really helpful to getting value out of SalesLoft if you have Salesforce. So identifying those critical kind of technographic dependencies that you might have, especially in a SaaS world. Or a marketing automation system is very common for a lot of MarTech providers to integrate with. So that's your tier 2. That's about 20% of your list. And when you go up to tier 1, that's when you get the CEO, the heads of sales in the room, and you pick the accounts that really matter. And this is where you spend more money per account than any other tier account. So if you look at the left there, you've got your 2 levers, resources and personalization. The higher you go up on the account list, the more resources you dedicate to it, and the more personalization you dedicate to those campaigns. So while we might be looking at a genericized, your typical persona-based marketing campaign for tier 3, you get to tier 2, then you might say, hey, I see that you're in this industry, but I also see that you may be using Salesforce, and you may be using Pardot or Marketo. And we work and integrate really well with those. But tier 1, you're talking one-to-one to that account. You're talking about their mission, their vision, and their values, and how you can apply not only to what they sell and to what they market, but to how they want to grow as a company. So this is how we fuel the sales engine. If you look at the left-hand side of the screen, you could start with product marketing. Product marketing creates that total addressable market analysis and that persona-based messaging that helps you basically fuel content creation throughout the process. Once you nail down who you're talking to, you know what to say. Once you have that total addressable market and persona messaging nailed down, that goes over to our communications and creative team. What do? We know who to talk to. We know what to say to them. Now it's time to create content. eBooks, blog posts, case studies, videos, all that good stuff. That's the output of the communication and creative team. The content comes over to me in demand gen while I'm sitting in Salesforce and spreadsheeting all day. And what we do is we take that content, we use, and we put it into persona-based cadences. And if you're not familiar with what a cadence is a sequence of sales activities that are used to basically execute a sales process. Persona-based cadences and lead generation, demand gen, we still have to generate leads. That's really important. We can't stop doing that. But basically contextualizing that content for the right personas. We put that into SalesLoft. In SalesLoft, what happens there is your XDR, XDR meaning ADR, BDR, SDR, MDR, whatever you might have in your organization. We arm them with those persona-based cadences that deliver the content to the viewer, the reader, in a more contextualized manner. It boosts your conversion rates and your reply rates, period. It does. We've got a study on it. I even did a talk at a previous sales confidence event about it. Personalization in emails can increase your reply and conversion rates by up to 40%. And that's on a study of, I think, 200 million sales interactions. So there's a lot you can do with that. What happens when you go into that process, the ADR, the BDR, the MDR, the whatever DR you might have, they're going through that prospecting process. It either gets qualified and goes over to your closers, your AE, your SE, your whatever E you might have. What doesn't come through goes into the closed process, and what goes into nurture, you might not get a response. Then, after you've tried to do that one-to-one communication with someone, if the salesperson can't connect, then marketing's got to take over. And that's when that nurture takes over in your marketing automation system. What do we do throughout the funnel? Basically, these are, and I don't know if anyone's heard of Topo. They're a really smart SaaS research and advisory firm that we've partnered with for many years out of San Francisco. Our funnel's more like a bow tie than a funnel. You start over with demand gen, pulling the leads in, direct mail, webinars, targeted advertising, bread and butter marketing stuff. Pipeline velocity campaigns. This is where account-based really hits it. Doing one-to-one ads and landing pages, and I'll show you a couple examples of that. Custom on-sites, partnering specifically with the enterprise team to create a day that's really focused on unlocking the value of what you're trying to deliver to the customer. And also field events. Field marketing is an incredible tool for mid-market and enterprise. So we've really been focusing a lot of our tactics there. Closing and adoption support, we've done some fun stuff there. This is usually when marketing steps back a little bit and we let salespeople do their job. But there's opportunities where we can get pulled in and actually help add some value in that process. For example, one of the things we did was we had a really fancy headset pilot test. So if you have a team of 20 or 30 salespeople and you're trying to, we're trying to pilot SalesLoft to them, we would say, okay, who's going to schedule the most appointments? Who's going to convert the most opportunities? You get a fancy $300-400 Jabra headset or something like that. You'll be the talk of the town in the SDR floor. It sounds a little bit ridiculous, but it goes a long way when you're trying to generate a great experience for your customers. Talking SalesLoft on SalesLoft. So what have we done to be most effective when we're trying to go to market? And renewals and expansion. This is an area where we are, developing the most. Admittedly, we've got a lot further we can do with this. We've seen excellent strides. We just started a new customer marketing team. We're really excited to be working on certifications, reference gathering, training, and SalesLoft events to help increase adoption. This is an example of just a couple screens of what we have for multi-channel programs. We did a direct mail piece about a customer journey. Where does SalesLoft fit in the customer journey? Because sales engagement as a concept is so incredibly new to the market. So we wanted to say, well, everyone knows where marketing automation fits and CRM fits, but where does sales engagement fit? So a direct mail piece that's sent to them, prospects going into a cadence. We had actually note writing parties. We brought in 1,000 pizzas and got all the SDR team, fed them all lunch and said, hey, we'll give you all lunch. Just write a few note cards out that are personalized to your specific prospects. We've got the list put together. It's all good. Then when the person actually goes to that landing page, the dynamic content that shows their account is actually inserted onto the landing page. So they feel more, they feel like you've done a little bit of extra effort to reach out to them. And the really engaged prospects and the big ones, we send them premium gifts. One of the solutions that I love to talk about that we've seen a lot of success with is a solution called Alyce, A-L-Y-C-E. It's a product that is unfortunately not available in the UK yet, but they're working on it. And it's actually a way for you to send a personalized gift code to someone where instead of receiving just cupcakes or wine or swag, they can actually receive and choose a personalized gift. They can choose a gift card to Amazon, they could donate to charity, or they can just say, no thanks. And what do they get for doing any of those things? We book a meeting. We've booked hundreds of meetings with Alyce so far, and we're really excited for what we're going to do moving forward there. Talking about measuring success, we engaged with 825 accounts, 26% of them converted to an opportunity. We drove sales and marketing alignment, spending time with your SDRs. Marketing, if you're not spending time with your SDRs or BDRs, you're losing out. We need to support them. We need to serve them. They have one of the toughest jobs in software sales, coming often right out of school or just coming right into the craft. They need to be supported, and you're going to create a great impression for marketing in those careers if you start supporting them early. And we scaled demand quickly. We influenced 5 million plus in pipeline in 2 quarters, and we haven't even updated that number. We created pipeline. It's not just about influencing pipeline when you're marketing. It's about contributing. How are you contributing to the pipeline, and how are you becoming, like James referred to earlier, a revenue marketer? We are committed to being a revenue marketing team at SalesLoft, and that's our first and foremost objective, is serving sales. How do you know if it's working? You've got to figure it out. And guess what? It wasn't really working at the start for us either. You got to figure it out. But how do you know? Target account pipeline. What target account pipeline means is you've got all your company's pipeline, and then you've got the pipeline you really want. So the pipeline that you really want is coming from target accounts. And how do you know that that's working as well? Marketing's engaging with contacts at those target accounts. You can measure the engagement with those contacts at those accounts. And marketing resources are aligned. So basically, marketing resources aligned means you're spending more on those tier 1 opportunities than you are on those tier 3. And definitely more on those tier 3 opportunities than you're spending on those non-target accounts. How do you share the metrics, the accountability, and meet regularly? Target account pipeline measures that shared contribution. Sales activities and marketing influence. So looking at the sales activities that are happening, the marketing activities that are happening, and meeting on a weekly basis and looking at those and saying, we are seeing marketing engagement in these accounts, and we're seeing that you're working these accounts in sales, creating reports and data structures to be able to measure that. Visualizing the impact, we use a tool called Terminus, who recently acquired a tool called Bright Funnel, which is incredibly powerful and is our most effective way of illustrating account-based return on investment. So highly recommend working with our friends over at Terminus. This is a good example of a graph that's available in Terminus. You see the first interaction on Salesforce on your left, and those multiple points of engagement, those orange dots, are actually not just leads. They're marketing engaging with the people on that opportunity. And that's all in Salesforce. You report, so you can very clearly, bless you, you can very clearly be able to show the value that you're delivering throughout the buying process. Success by the numbers. We had 111% higher average opportunity ARR in target accounts versus non. 80% of all of our pipeline created was in target accounts, and 95% of all revenue year to date has been influenced by marketing. So that is what we're looking for when we're talking about aligning with sales. Thank you.